In this video, I want to teach you two slightly more advanced footwork patterns that you're going to need on your forehand when you're playing against an opponent that hits the ball hard and deep. For us to hit a good shot efficiently ourselves, we're going to be relying on sound biomechanics and good timing. So we're thinking about driving through the outside hip to initiate the forward swing. Just after the outside hip fires, the torso starts to fire to create rotation. As those things are going on, that creates a racket lag. It can look a little bit different depending on whether you use a bent arm or a straight arm, but it's roughly a similar process. And then from there, the arm and the racket come through. And often we're going to be meeting the ball out in front. So if the ball is the right sort of ball and we're in the right position, we can do the stuff that I've just described, meet the ball out in front for nice efficient timing and then follow through. But that isn't always the case. Sometimes we'll be dealing with a better quality of ball, maybe that's hit deeper, maybe that's hit harder, and we simply cannot arrive in time to use this optimal timing and meet the ball out in front. So because of that, we have to do something slightly different. We have to kind of make an adjustment in terms of what we're doing with our feet as we hit the ball. So that's what we're going to be working on here. We're going to be working on two variations. We're going to be working on a reverse single leg pivot, and we're going to be working on a single leg outside hop. So they're basically, one is an extension of the other. When the ball's a little bit closer, we can use the reverse single leg pivot. When the ball is a little bit further away, we're going to have to use this outside hop.
Let's take a look at this point by Djokovic and Murray, obviously two of the best movers to ever play the game. Focus on Murray's footwork because he hits 7 different forehands in this video. 3 of them are single leg reverse pivots and 2 of them are outside hops. So these are really common footwork patterns for playing high level tennis. That was a single leg reverse pivot. This next one, again, another single leg reverse pivot, covering a bit more ground, has to do an outside hop, and then another outside hop. So very common footwork patterns.
So when you start to learn new footwork patterns, it's really important to work on them without the ball first. You need to do enough repetitions so that you start to develop an understanding for how these movements feel. And then once you've done that, then you can start to incorporate it within your play. And the idea is to habitualize how these movements feel within your body. So we're going to start with the single leg reverse pivot. And you'll be loading on your right leg as usual. And then just get the feeling for what happens if I drive through my right leg and I'm basically pivoting on my right leg and my left knee is coming up. So I'm pivoting on my right leg, my left leg is coming up as a counterbalance. And at the start, don't worry about your head, don't worry about the racket, just get used to the feeling of kind of pivoting on the right leg with the hip coming up. Once you're familiar with that, then you can start to worry about the racket and head. So now I'm making it a little bit more realistic as a shadow swing. So I'm trying to keep my head lined up with where the contact would be, and then I'm doing a follow through with my racket. Now sometimes often you'll be able to follow through over across towards your other arm. Sometimes you might be following through and it might be a buggy whip style finish when you do it. But the intent isn't I'm going to finish here or I'm going to finish here. The adjustment is made before the swing. It's a case of recognizing where the ball is, and we'll talk about that in a moment, recognizing where the ball is and making an adjustment with your swing. And then because either I'm meeting the ball further out in front or it's a little bit further back, that's what's going to cause the follow through to end in a certain position. But practice it in isolation first, and then start to incorporate it. So do your split step, step out to the ball, and then do your reverse single leg pivot. So just kind of build up the level of difficulty and achieve repetitions. And then from there, the single leg outside hop should be fairly simple. We just do it as we're moving a little bit more quickly. So now we've covered a little bit more ground, and because our momentum is carrying us in that direction, we're going to be using the hop just to allow us to maintain balance. And because we're going to be using this second variation when the ball's a little bit wider, the majority of the time the ball is going to be deeper, so we will be finishing with the buggy whip style finish just because the ball is further back. I'm not going out to going, yes, I want to do a buggy whip style finish here. I'm going, the ball is too far back. That's what I need to do to make the adjustment, to make a clean contact. And then the practice is the same. Get used to what it feels like in isolation. and then start to progress it and really get used to what it starts to feel like as you go faster and faster. But the process is the same. Practice it, get the feeling, do enough repetitions, then start to incorporate it with the ball. Before I finish the video, I want to go back to something that I said a moment ago that's going to be really important for your ability to do this. It is a case of using the appropriate footwork and swing adjustment based on the ball that you're dealing with. And this is where tennis gets hard, because every single shot that you deal with is different. You've got to be able to very accurately predict when and where the ball is going to arrive. So speed, spin, trajectory, how it's going to interact off the court. All these things are different variables, and your brain has to be able to make these calculations on the fly in order to be able to make and use the appropriate adjustment. And the reality is, the thing that holds the vast majority of players back is their visual system isn't capable of making these adjustments at a sufficiently high level, and it basically prevents them from adapting and hitting the variety of shots that they need. The good news though is that vision is actually very trainable. There's a lot of different underlying visual skills we need on court, but they're all trainable. If you would like help with that side of things, I've created a masterclass that's going to go into a lot more detail about how to train your visual system. I'll place a link up there, and I'll place a link down in the description. Click on either of those links, it'll take you over to a different page, enter your details there, and I'll send you this masterclass so you can start going through it. Okay, hopefully this video has been helpful. These footwork patterns are absolutely essential. You watch the high level of the game, you see them very frequently, so definitely something you want to start practicing. Go through the steps, get the feeling, build up the repetitions, and then again, it might be really useful to look at the visual side of things as well. But I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could give me a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel as well.